Hello, guys. It's Chris here, otherwise known as UtdActive on Twitter. So it's been a little bit of an interesting day, and we're going to talk through it. Why the transfers are on track, why you shouldn't be worrying about some of the stuff that's come out from some journalists in terms of some particular issues that Manchester United had with one particular transfer, and all the other little bits we're going to talk about in terms of Frankie de Jong, in terms of Martinez, in terms of Antony, and in terms of other particular rumours that we'll be looking at, and we'll talk about the kit launch. So when it comes down to it, this morning was a little bit mental. This morning, basically what happened is we saw some reports, mainly from The Athletic, and then obviously a few other outlets that got involved in terms of some issues with Malaysia's deal to go to Manchester United in terms of his representation, that his agent, he has Ali Dusan, I believe. He didn't want him to. There was some rumours that he didn't want him to be dealing with the deal. He wanted his father to do it. We don't know how true that is, right? So that's just being speculative at this point in time. So what I know is, and from my understanding, it is that those issues were resolved last night. The club weren't happy. They came out, and as you saw, they dispelled it quite easily. I believe Samuel Luckhurst, who is a mouthpiece to Manchester United, has come out and said that obviously there's been no issues. The issues have been resolved. Manchester United are confident doing the deal, yada yada. So that came out pretty quickly because they noticed that those rumours came out quick, and they wanted to just make all the fans assured that the deal is still going ahead. There's no issues. The player wants Manchester United. Leon came out, I think the Leon president and one of the directors, saying that they had similar issues. I think they're making that up just to say to the fans, look, this is the reason why we couldn't get the deal done. Malaysia wanted Manchester United. They were waiting for Manchester United to get involved before they went. They took ages to agree personal terms with Leon because of that reason. And that does happen a lot with agents. We've seen it with Ronaldo and Manchester City, went to Manchester United in the end. So there's a lot of stuff that does go on with agents sometimes so they can draw up the interest to attract the actual club that they want the player to sign for. And they already know that the player and the club that potentially wants him might get involved at that stage. And there's all these shenanigans that goes on with that one. So that deal's on track. I've already told you it's a done deal. There's nothing else to discuss apart from the last bits of personal terms, which will be going on again tonight. And we could get from the media itself a little bit of a statement in due course around the deal, and it's closing in on that deal. So nothing to worry about in that sense. Just ignore what's gone on Twitter. There was a lot of rumours saying that the agent was going to be pissed off in regards to the issue with United, and obviously the player. United's fault wasn't at fault. So, and also you've got to remember from a logical point of view, that agent is also Frankie de Jong's agent, and he stand to make great money out of that particular deal with Frankie de Jong. So there's no particular issues with that one. There's a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumours that happen on Twitter because people want to drive up interest, get you to their page, making sure you follow them. It's the usual stuff that goes on, or you've got the small attention seekers that are looking for, a little bit of a story or some attention, as I said. So nothing to worry about in that sense, all done and dusted. When it comes to Frankie de Jong, everything's been agreed with Barcelona, as I've said. David Ornstein's come and said that. They're saying there's a little bit of issues with add-ons and stuff like that. There's no issues with add-ons. It's all been sorted. In terms of they're still working it out. They've worked all of that out. It's just personal terms. Frankie de Jong's still on holiday, so he will sort those things out once he's off the back of his holiday, make sure that it's all in place. And obviously the medical will come afterwards and so forth. But that's another done deal. There isn't anything much for me to talk about. I've already said all the details on the last podcast, but I just wanted to reassure people that those two transfers are on track. So there's nothing to worry about, okay? Simple. When it comes to Lisandro Martinez, someone that's hot on the lips of Manchester United fans over the last few days, where they've been talking a little bit about him. I'm expecting Manchester United to jump in. I haven't had any sort of concrete news around it yet, but how these things normally go, and there's obviously major interest from Manchester United. We did see some stuff that they would potentially look at it over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm not sure how true that is. As I said, take it with a pinch of salt, which I did tweet out. But I'm expecting Manchester United to at least get involved. They're probably waiting to see what Arsenal negotiate with Ajax and step in, similar to what they did with Feyenoord, the left back, obviously, that they're signing. So some interesting times going on. Manchester United is still thinking about what type of bid and proposal they want to do to Ajax, but obviously they need to hurry that one up quickly because Martinez doesn't mind joining Arsenal if he can't get a move to Manchester United, but he does prefer Manchester United and obviously how Ten Hag plays his football, already knows from the time he's been there. So it looks like that could go in one good direction. So there are some positives around that. There's been some positive sort of early negotiations with Ajax around that. And that's a deal that I can see them getting done. But as I said, at the moment, there isn't anything finite. There isn't anything that says that the deal is completed. So we have to wait and see, as I said, in terms of that particular one. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to Antony, like anything, I sometimes have to give bad news, and I don't like giving bad news, but I have to be transparent with you and honest in terms of that. It is unlikely that Manchester United will sign Antony this summer, and the only reason for that is that Ajax don't seem to be budging on the fee for that player, and they want 80 million euros. Manchester United are aware that he isn't going to return till around the start of August in terms of his injury, so they don't really want to pay 80 million euros for a player that's probably going to miss most of the pre-season. Although Ten Hag would like him at Manchester United, Antony would love to go to Manchester United, has spoken to Ajax, doesn't think that the value they've set is realistic. However, Ajax have informed him that they would like to keep him, and that's the only reason why they've put the value up. But Manchester United still in the negotiations with Ajax to see if they can get a compromise. But from my point of view and see how these transfer goes and sometimes how United drag out negotiations, I just don't see it happening. And I think Manchester United will go and look for another forward or potential striker that they are also in talks with at the moment. And they do have enough width players to not concern themselves too much and come back to it maybe next summer or in the next window. I wouldn't say the deal is dead at the moment. I would just say that it doesn't look likely at this point in time. And obviously I have to be honest with you about that one. But if Manchester United, as I said, they value the player at 45 to 50 million pounds, so they don't want to pay the 80 million euros that obviously Ajax have set. They believe that the relationship with Ajax, they don't want to disrupt that as well, so they're not going to constantly chase it or ask the player to leave and stuff like that. So they're never going to do that. Same as the player, he obviously respects Ajax and given him the platform, but he would like them to talk to Manchester United. So we will have to see if anything changes or gets resolved. I won't rule that out. I love transfers, how they are. Sometimes they can change at the drop of the hat. And we've seen that with Rafinha deal, Arsenal, then Chelsea, Barcelona, back to Chelsea, maybe Barca being a bit of a mental story, that one. So that just gives you the example of what transfers can be like sometimes. So we'll have to see what goes on with that one. A couple of other rumours. There's been some stories around Tielemans. Haven't heard anything, which when I haven't heard anything means that there's probably nothing in it at this stage. I know that Manchester United have looked at him in the past, but I'm not sure he's on Ten Hag's list anymore in terms of transfers because he did ask them to scrap some of the players off the list that they had. So maybe Tielemans is off there. I don't know. I haven't heard anything concrete on Tielemans. So as far as I can tell you, that there is nothing with that one, with that particular deal. Manchester United obviously are still incredibly active in the market, want to do 4 to 5 players. Now, the last bit is the kit launch. Obviously, that looks like it's been delayed till next week. We don't know. It's not been confirmed, but obviously someone, Footy Headlines, who's got quite a good following, have said that it's postponed for another week. My understanding from that is there's 2 reasons for it, is that they potentially will have a big signing done by then, or they want to show him just before they go off to pre-season. So you could look at it from those point of views, but you would imagine for them to maximise their profits, they're looking for a particular deal that they would have someone new in the kit to show for the club and obviously maximise their particular profits. And if it was someone like Frankie de Jong, Christian Eriksen, or someone particular like that, we'll talk about Eriksen shortly, then potentially that would maximise their profits. And that's business logic, and that's what kind of the way it is. But we don't know. It might get announced before then, but as I said, that's the rumour that's going around. Now, when it comes to Christian Eriksen, the clubs that were interested in him have been informed. So obviously Manchester United and Brentford have been informed of his decision, but we haven't got it publicly yet. We might not see that for another 5 to 7 days. There's no rush. He's a free agent. He can take his time with it. But all I would say is that Manchester United are going to the pre-season by the 8th of July, so they would want that all to be announced if he goes there before then. And obviously, if he stays at Brentford, then obviously he stays at Brentford. But we don't know his official decision. Apparently, it's been decided already, from what I've been told. So we'll have to see from there on Christian Eriksen. But at the moment, guys, that's the news I've got from you. Hopefully that calms you a little bit, and I would ignore some of the accounts on Twitter that are making up some silly stories and some assumptions and those sort of things. It isn't healthy for you guys. But as I said, all transfers are on track. I've already told you about 2 players that have done deals. Let's see what happens over the next coming days. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Shout out to my moderators. They're doing a fantastic job in Discord. Shout out to my writers and obviously the people that are managing them on UtdActive.com. If you haven't seen that, go and see that now. I've created a community on Twitter, which I will release soon, where people can go in there, talk with me directly. There's a community thing now on Twitter, as a new perk. I've created one of those. You can go and have a look for me. It's UtdActive. I will be discussing private information on there that I get, exclusives on my news and those sort of things. So you're welcome to come in there. It is restricted access. I only let certain people go in there just to make sure that obviously it's not a toxic environment. But I appreciate you guys today. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video if you haven't done already. Make sure you have a great weekend. Go and have fun. And hopefully we get some good news over the weekend from Manchester United. But I'm expecting everything to be running smoothly for transfers now. And I appreciate you guys very much. Take care now. Peace.